Welcome to a new episode of the Guru's Perspective, and I'm your host, the Guru himself. It's a lot of things I want to discuss and break down for you today, but I was very excited to see a lot of good sports over the weekend. I want to start off with talking about what happened basically in the NBA and how we got to where we're at right now, which is the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We already know about what happened with the New York Knicks sweeping the 76ers, and we know what happened with OKC sweeping the Lakers. Okay, now we head to the semifinal round from the actual round where we're going to actually get more competition that I feel like. I feel like the last round has some good competition, but it's going to be some really hard hitting, heavy hitting teams, especially over in the Western Conference. With the games being to explain right now and talked about, I want to first talk about the San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like that would have been easily a 4-1 series if Wemby didn't get ejected the one game and get kicked out for the vicious elbow that he gave to Nas Reed. But when that game took place, I feel like Minnesota snuck in another game. But for the most part, when Wemby was playing, you can see it was all San Antonio. They ended up closing out that series 4-2. And that last game got really bad. I just felt like Julius Randle didn't really step up between him and Rudy Gobert. I believe Julius Randle only had 3 points. Rudy Gobert had no points. Ant-Man was stuck on the island by himself. People saying that he needs help just like Cade Cunningham need help. And I'm going to definitely get into that and the reasons why I feel that way. But we still got to understand, too, when it comes to this, you guys had Ayo Dosunmu, a good scorer. And I still feel like Julius Randle on a good day was better than what we had over there in Detroit. I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong. I want people to hit me up in my comments and talk to me more about some of these discussions. I want a little bit more interaction because I still feel like Minnesota had a little bit more firepower than we had. They ran into a buzzsaw, which is the San Antonio Spurs. That series got closed out 4-2. And now they're taking OKC. And then you had the series where the Detroit Pistons played the Cleveland Cavaliers, coming off a game 7 with a team I really didn't think that they were supposed to go to a game 7 with, being down 3-1. I thought Orlando, the AC, was going to close them out. They showed their perseverance and they ended up coming back and winning that series. Problem is, after that happened, they went to another game 7 and they were gassed. They won the first 2 games. It looked like everything was going to be just a cruise when it came to Cleveland. I knew as a basketball fan it wasn't going to be that easy. It's easier said than done. Cleveland won the 2 at the house. They handled business, did what they were supposed to do on their home court. But the Pistons ended up losing in home. And when they lost at home, it was a lot of question marks there. Bad calls. They didn't call the trip, on, Azura Thompson. And it just got me frustrated because you could see a lot of bad calls with the refs in this series. But I'm not going to make any excuses because that's how they do things in the NBA now. I feel like at some point I get upset when they call fouls, but when they don't call them, I'll be like, okay, they letting them play. But that was clearly a trip. And, it should have got them to the line before it even went to overtime. They went to overtime. Cleveland got the best of them. You still got to wake up and you got to say, okay, this was a monkey wrench. Let us adjust. I didn't feel like they made their proper adjustments. No disrespect to JB Bickerstaff and their staff over there, no pun intended. But still, Cleveland pulled away with it. A lot of people were upset. They had their heads down because we felt like we were cheated. And we knew going back to Cleveland was going to be a hard task. But they went back to Cleveland and beat Cleveland by 21 points. Handled business there. I was really shocked because they came home and I looked at it and I said, man, it looked like they have a chance. No chance in hell. I love my Detroit Pistons, and I'm not going to bash them, but 2 game 7s is crucial. And when you only have one score, consistent score in Cade Cunningham, I love Azura Thompson, but he's a great defender, not really good as far as scoring. Tobias Harris wasn't really there this time for us. He was there that last series, wasn't too much now. I definitely liked Paul Reed. I liked the way he played and how he stepped up. because Jalen Duren didn't do anything. He really messed up a supermax deal, in my opinion. Would the Pistons keep him? I'm still interested. I feel like whatever contract they give him, he might as well just take it now, because if he won a supermax, some team might do it, but I don't think we would at this point. They just looked bad that game. You could tell they were gassed having 2 game 7s, but it seemed like the passion wasn't there either. I mean, when your high scorer as Dennis Jenkins was 17, and you're a high scorer and your MVP so far of the actual playoffs, and Cade Cunningham only had 13 points, I said, yeah, not only they retired, they just didn't have enough for Cleveland. Cleveland was on a whole different level in this series, but at the same time, as a fan and as a person of interest, I still have to say this. I know my boy Marcus Hutchinson was one of the people who explained and pulled that out, and a lot of other people were on this page and they were pissed. Shout out to all the people on Facebook and all the love you guys gave me too with the 1K. I'm very humbled. Love you all for that. And just really surprised that, a lot of us already knew on May the 16th, they automatically put out promo saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers was going to play, the New York Knicks in game 1 of the conference finals. Got a lot of people pissed off. We said all we could do is prove them wrong. And it definitely looked like Adam Silver and, FanDuel and, Las Vegas, a lot of them reap the benefits on that when that's how it seemed. But the Pistons needed to come out there and prove that narrative wrong themselves, and they just really didn't show up. You got to give credit to Cleveland coming in and having a game plan, and we didn't play as well anyway. They punched us in the mouth, and I don't think they expected that. But then still seeing that promo made me skeptic, and I wasn't too happy about that neither. That final score was really bad. We lost 125-95, and then Cleveland Cavaliers moved on, and they will be playing tonight, and I will be giving my predictions on that game. Okay, I want to talk about some of the things that happened over the weekend too as well, starting off with some of the good WNBA basketball that I've seen. I was very excited on basketball in general this weekend, especially when it came to the girls, because they showed up and they showed out. Because of the fact is, it's only like at the time 4 or 5 games deep in the WNBA, and it looked like a playoff atmosphere already in the beginning. I want to talk about some of the games too. Chelsea Gray made that fadeaway jumper with 3.6 seconds left on the clock. They should have lost that game, to be honest with you, because the Atlanta Dream gave them everything they could handle in that game. But at the same time, I feel like being up as big as they was in the fourth quarter, Becky Hammond, and I just feel like the girls in general, Asia, they got too many veterans on that team to let that game slip away like that. Las Vegas won that game 85-84, and it was very exciting. Chelsea Gray, man, she had a really big game too. I really respect what she did in that game, because she had 21 points. She had the game-winning jumper and the game-winning steal to seal that game off too. Alicia Gray also had 25 points, and Medina Okot, of all people, surprised me. She pulled down 11 rebounds in that game, and she looked like she's getting comfortable. That was one of my South Carolina girls now who's making her, adjustments in the WNBA. And I want to talk about the one of the first games that came out too. As far as when I looked up and I seen the Caitlin Clark game, when she played, she scored 21 points and had 10 assists and 7 rebounds to lead the Indiana Fever. And they won that game 89-78 against the Seattle Storm on Sunday night. Natasha Heidemann surprised me too. She was the high scorer with the Storm, scoring 19 points. Another person who surprised me too, who had a really solid game. She looked like UCLA all over again, but just in a different uniform. Rookie Gabriella Harkless. She set a career high with 20 points and 8 rebounds. Camila Cardoso had 11 points and 12 rebounds too. And the Chicago Sky beat the Minnesota Lynx 86-79 on Sunday night. Kayla McBride scored 20 points too for the Lynx. I still feel like when my homegirl Fee come back, that's going to be an X factor. Just don't know when she'll be back and cleared to play yet. Brittany Sykes surprised me too. Brittany Sykes scored a career high 38 points, and she was cooking in that game. Rookie Kiki Rice added 19 points in her first start, and the Toronto Tempo raced past the Los Angeles Sparks 106-96 on Sunday. Kelsey Plum has been playing out of control. I just feel like that team is not clicking right now. She had 28 points and 7 assists for the Sparks. Trying to see what's going on with that team and what all that they need to do to get the momentum that they need to actually play and win more games. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that they're 2-2. They might be worse than that. I might be wrong, but I definitely feel like I thought that the Sparks was going to be a little better with Cameron Brink being back and a lot of their players. Of course, they're missing Rakia Jackson to the Chicago Sky. Weird enough, too, to say, because I was afraid because she had a nasty injury that game that made me nervous seeing it, too, as well. I definitely hope that she'll be able to play and she can recover from that. Olivia Miles was already making WNBA history, becoming the first player ever to post 30-plus points and 15 assists across her first 2 games in the league. And she also joined the league company, that being said. She's the 3rd player in the WNBA history with 10 points and 5 rebounds in each of her first 3 career games, joining Candace Parker and Sue Bird. So congratulations, because Olivia Miles looked every bit of the part. She's been making a lot of chicks in the WNBA look silly right now, and I've been enjoying it. The matchup between Indiana and Caitlin Clark was a really big matchup, man. Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers on the WNBA opening weekend averaged 2.49 million on ABC, making it the lead second most watched regular season game in ABC or ESPN. I definitely feel like people wanted to see that matchup. I was loving it myself. Paige went off. Caitlin Clark adjusted after the halftime after scoring 8 points. And it was a very close game. It was just that Dallas closed it out. Dallas got some really good players, and they got some savvy veterans over there. And I just like what they're doing over there in Dallas. I kind of figured it wasn't going to be that bad for long. And look at them now, because they really look sharp. Kennedy Carter came off the bench on a tear. She dropped the most points by a reserve in a single game this season. She scored 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. She was 13 of 16 field goals in 24 minutes. That was instant impact. At the same time, Kennedy Carter now holds the record for the most points scored off the bench through the first 5 games in the WNBA season. That woman has 97 points right now. Second was Bria Hartley in 2020 with 91 points. Danielle Adams, 2011 with 86. Planetti Pearson, 2008, 85 points. And then Monique Curry, 2017, 83 points. No relations to Steph Curry. And she set off the highest scoring bench start of the league has ever seen, too. And Kenny Carter didn't play last year. And this is what her average is right now off the bench. 19.4 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.0 assists, and 65.9% field goals. That is incredible. I want to give my flowers to one of the Hall of Famers, and that's Lisa Leslie. She would join the most accomplished athletes in history and sports, as she would be memorized with her statue outside of Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. The 2-time WNBA champion, 3-time MVP, and 4-time Olympic gold medalist will be honored in a ceremony September the 20th in the Star Plaza outside of her home of the Sparks and the Los Angeles Lakers. Leslie would join Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Earl Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Wayne Gretzky, Pat Riley, Oscar De La Hoya, etc., as being one of the sports figures with the statue in front of the arena. So congratulations, Lisa Leslie. Is definitely, you're one of the founding women of the WNBA, and to be in this Hall of Fame. And not only that, but get your statue in front of the building. I seen Sue Bird get her statue. A lot of people are getting statues right now, but it's well-deserved statues. Congratulations on your career. Hetty Van Limp versus the Las Vegas Aces had a really big game. It was one of her career highs. I want to give her flowers because I know she felt some kind of way when she left the Chicago Sky, and then she ended up not having a team. Connecticut Sun ended up picking her up. And I would like to say, yeah, congratulations. I hope she continue to emerge as one of their players because they're definitely going to need her because they're not really a great team right now. She had 17 points, a rebound, and 4 assists on 7 and 11 field goals. I definitely hope that she can rebound and show them that she still belongs in the WNBA. I want to get back to the point, and I want to talk about my homegirl, Asia Wilson, man. Las Vegas Aces. She's the first player in WNBA and NBA to have a game where she had 45 plus points, 15 of 18 shooting, 80%, plus 100% field goals. She had 100% 3-point percentage as well. So yeah, man, that lady was on the tear. And congratulations on your 45 points. She looked very comfortable doing it. She had to put the team on her back for them to pull that game out. But you never know. Any night it could be Chelsea Gray, it can be Kennedy Carter, it could be Asia Wilson, it could be Jackie Young. I mean, pick your poison. There's so many of them over there. I want to get a little bit into the NBA and some of the accolades and the stats that happened over there too as well before I get into the main game that would happen yesterday and talk about some of the WNBA games that went on last night. Anthony Edwards threw 50 career postseason games. He has 1,302 points, 332 rebounds, and 147 three-pointers. The only other player in NBA history to reach those totals through 50 games played is Luka Doncic. Julius Randle, this is the bad of it all, too, in the playoffs that I want to talk about. He scored only 3 points in an elimination game and was locked up all series. He had problems with the reach and the height of Luke Cornett and, Victor Wembanyama. I think everybody had problems with that man, so spare me. Okay, he had averaged 12.8 points per game, 32.4% of field goals, 19% three-pointers. That's very low. 3 turnovers a game. Tell me about it. I know Cade was a turnover machine this whole playoff. And negative 84. Question is, do you think that this is the last game he played in Minnesota? Because a lot of other teams would definitely like to get him. I still feel like he's a star. He just had a rough series against a really good team. Let's just be honest. You can't play a team like that and think that you're going to just dominate. I just looked at that and said, man, he just had a bad outing, but people going to still hold him accountable. That's just bottom line. Okay, let's get back to business. Donovan Mitchell of the Cavs has made 232 three-pointers in 75 career playoff games. The only other player who made more through his first 75 playoff games was, of course, Steph Curry. He had 314. The Detroit Pistons had a 21-point win on Friday, ties the largest road win to force a Game 7 in NBA history. And the bad part is now what happened afterwards, but still want to give accolades and give credit where credit is due. Cade Cunningham is a playoff leader in free throws with 112, playoff leader in assists with 100, and playoff leader in points with 381. Back to business, though. On Sunday, May the 17th, 4 different Cavaliers put up at least 20-plus points, while the Pistons players reached 18. It was the second ever playoff game of this kind in NBA history after Game 3, the first round between Washington and Chicago in 2005 that this ever happened. I just feel like they had all the energy we didn't. And I just want to get us some players over there who could score consistently. I know that we was tired after 2 Game 6s, but come on, 2 Game 7s. Let me correct that. But come on, guys, you got to do better, especially for the city. And I'm not saying I'm down on them or said that I don't think they was going to win in any way, because I definitely feel like whoever make it out of the East is still going to have problems with San Antonio and OKC. But, come on, you guys, that was an embarrassing, and you got to put more pride into what you're doing and your efforts than that. Yes, I know you retired after 2 Game 7s, but just really felt like I wanted a little bit more energy there. I'm not disappointed. I was a little upset that they're not there, but because the Pistons had a very bad record 2 years back to back, and out of nowhere just being a 6th seed, not even in a playoff game. or a play-in game. They just was in the playoffs, period, to be in the number one. And I'm just hoping they could pick up off of that and get some free agents. Here go the bad part, though. The Detroit Pistons were eliminated from NBA playoffs after suffering a 125-94 blowout loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The 31-point defeat was a franchise worst ever loss in Game 7. The deficit. Detroit trailed as many as 35 points in the second half, ending the hopes of advanced shooting struggles. The Pistons shot a decimal 35.3% from the field and 30.8% from the three-point range. Paint domination. Cleveland outscored Detroit 58-34 in the paint. And the top performer was Dennis Jenkins, like I said, from the Pistons with 17 points. But the franchise cornerstone, Cade Cunningham, was limited to a playoff career low of 13 points and 5 of 16 shooting. So, yeah, as much as I was disappointed, I still feel like they can bounce back from this, man. Keep your head up, fellas. I just feel like not only this wasn't your year, but it was a disappointment you being the number one seed. But don't forget, at one point, OKC was the number one seed, and they lost in the second round to the Dallas Mavericks with Luka when they went on to lose to the Boston Celtics. So it's a lot to still keep our head up about. Yeah, we want to do good and we want all our teams to be great. But still, at this moment, we kind of figured with this team that they had, I don't think that it was championship caliber. So let's just get the pieces there that we need now necessary to get us a win. I want to get into some of the WNBA action yesterday, too. And it's going to be very brief because I feel like right now the Dallas Wings had the Washington Mystics number. It was a really good game, but until like it got to that third quarter, because it really got nasty. That final score was like 92-69. It wasn't really too much damage being done. Paige Beckers had 18 points and Jessica Shepard basically had like 16 rebounds. But I was surprised because Shakira Austin only had 12 points, and that was the high on the Mystic team. And Kiki Irfin had 10 rebounds. But that score was just really surprising. But then my co-host was telling me, too, for the Guru of Sports session, that, Hugh, they're still a young team. It's only 2 years experience on that team. It's not really too many veterans over there, too, with the Mystics. A lot of young girls who are in their second year and a lot of first year, impactful players. And they're going to be great. But right now, they don't have enough experience, and that's what I think cost them, too. Plus, at the same time, you had Azzi Fudd with her first 12 points that she scored. That's the first double digits she scored. And just a really good all-around game and defense from the Dallas Wings. And that score was just ridiculous, 92-69. Definitely wasn't expecting that one. And, the really good game that I saw, which was like against two teams who are not really that great, but good for Portland because Portland crowd be rocking, man. That's a really good crowd, and I like their fans because they come out there to the arena and they show up and they show out. That score went down to the bottom of the quarter in the fourth quarter, like almost to the wire. That final score was 83-82. And the Portland Fire ended up beating the Connecticut Sun 83-82. Really good game, and I enjoyed it, too. I just felt like at the same time, I like Bridget Carlton and what she did, but Brittany Griner was the highest scorer over there as well for the Connecticut Sun with 16 points. And surprising enough, too, Anisha Merrill, I knew that was a familiar face from LSU. She had 12 rebounds. I just didn't feel like right now Connecticut Suns is going to have a long season. They already 0-5, so I can only see things getting worse from here. They're going to win some games, but I think they're going to be right back where they was last season, unfortunately. And let's get down to business. Let's talk about the two teams basically who played, and it was like two mammoth teams, massive, game teams with two good records. I think this is the first time the teams had close to 60 as far as the 60 win records, and they were playing each other. The number one and number two seed right now in the Western Conference Championship. This game was amazing. I was really surprised in seeing how good it was. When you see the game, it's just the fundamentals of the game was there too. Every element hit last night for me. I usually look at the NBA and I be disappointed, and I say sometimes this is the new NBA. You have a lot of flopping and guys crying to the referees to get their calls, or they're not getting their calls. But this game was a little different. They kind of let you get away with a little bit of fouls and aggressive play. And, in the playoffs, you got to let the guys determine the game. You can't call like 10 to 15 fouls on the team like with the Detroit Pistons and Cleveland series. Let me get back off of that. Don't get me started. I was still, feeling some kind of way about that series. But at the end of the day, man, it was a really good matchup between the San Antonio Spurs coming in and playing OKC. I knew this was going to be a problem game for OKC because the San Antonio Spurs had their number all season. And at this point, they definitely didn't disappoint. San Antonio ended up winning that game in a close one, but it was a double overtime thriller, and it was definitely worth it. I was on my toes. I was on the edge of my bed watching this game, cheering, and I was high and I was low when it came to this game. And it was actually a really good contest, very much so. I hope that this series go as far as it possibly can because this is what the NBA should be all about. Victor Wembanyama had a monster game, man. He had 41 points and 24 rebounds. I think he's the second person ever in his career to accomplish this feature besides when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, he's constantly making history and he's constantly making strides to perfection at this point. And when I looked up and I seen that game too, I said, man, that was just monsters, man. When he shot that half court shot, man, well, he shot a shot basically from the half court range to actually tie the game and to force that second overtime. And then they pulled away with the game. Stephon Castle had 11 assists too, and he definitely looked the part. But the person who surprised me the most was the kid, Dylan Harper. Yeah, he made mistakes, but he stepped up when they needed him to. I was a little concerned too because when I seen De'Aaron Fox wasn't going to play, and like I said, the rookie made his mistakes, but man, when they came up and when they needed him, he came up pretty big. It definitely looked like NBA Finals matchup when they played last night. And if this any indication how the rest of this series is going to be, I cannot wait. What I saw too last night surprised me was Alex Caruso stepped up in this game, man. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he had like 24 points in this game and he had 12 assists. But the leading scorer was Alex Caruso, man. That kid was 11 to 19. And he looked sharp whenever they needed him. I'm talking about defense, a big time shot. He was there in this game, and that's the veteran presence that they needed over there. But that energy was matched by Victor Wembanyama, and I just felt like they outdueled them this first game. Yes, it's the first game of the series, so I'm not getting too overexcited because OKC can close out and win at home and do what they're supposed to do. Yes, San Antonio stole that game on the road. But I want to see what happened now and how OKC adjusts on Wednesday because it was very exciting to see that game. I'm still in shock over that first game too because, like I said, if it's any indication of how they're going to play, I definitely can't wait for the next game to come about. And tonight, of course, you got the matchup between the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I still feel like right now the Cleveland Cavaliers is on a high. After beating the Pistons, going to the conference championship, you have a kid who's never been there in Donovan Mitchell, and you have a person who want to play and finally get this monkey off his back, James Harden, and get to a championship round. I still feel like right now it's going to be in New York. And it's going to be ruckus. It's going to be packed with celebrities and all. They're going to have to handle their business in this game. Did New York get too much rest? I can't really say that. But yeah, OKC had some nice rest, and they still had a chance to pull this game off. But unfortunately, you got the alien Victor Wembanyama, who definitely said no to that. I still feel like the Knicks match up well with any team, even the Western Conference teams in San Antonio and OKC. I just feel like you can't have pedestrian games with poor defense and games where you're not really scoring collectively with Cleveland. I still feel like this is going to be a close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if New York pulled this one off. And New York is going to be hyped. They got the energy. You got Mitchell Robinson, and you got basically Cat, who, like I said, who could match up with anybody's bigs. But I think Jalen Brunson is going to be the X factor in this one too. And I just feel like collectively they're all going to play well with OG Anunoby and all those guys getting their rest. And I would even predict the score. I'm going to have this one as 115 to 109, and I would take the Knicks in this one in this first game. Like I said before, too, you guys, I would really like to thank you guys. I am so humbled for them. The people who showed me the love and support, man. Like I said, I had over 1K views the other day. I thought it was a glitch or whatever. But when I seen it, and then I was just very excited because I appreciate the love, the support, and everybody who's listening and clicking my link. And like I said, if you have anything else you want me to talk about, hit me up in my comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about specifically, and I will try to do just that. I just want to make this a show for you guys and to give you credit. And I just want to definitely always give you your flowers because I appreciate what you've done for me. And like I said, if you want to catch me on my links, you can hit me at Hoovi, WHOOVI on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Sports Guru to you. I put a lot of my breaking news and a lot of things that's going on in sports and give you the scores. Hugh.Lee6 is my TikTok page. Thank you guys for, showing love on my promos and the reels and the things that I put up there. I definitely appreciate your support as well. The Sports Guru to you is my specific sports page that I have, where if you want to just tell me different things you want me to talk about or more things you want me to feature on the show as well. And like I said, you can always catch me too on YouTube, where I do a lot of my promos, and that's Hugh Lee, plain and simple. Or you could just go to the Guru Prospective or the Guru Production, and you'll see a lot of my work over there as well. I would like to say happy birthday to my sister Harriet. I know it was yesterday. Still want to give her happy birthday wishes, and my niece Tiffany today. Happy birthday! I love you, ladies. And until next week, I'll see you. And like we always say, don't stress, let the Lord handle the rest, and just let's keep our focus. It's been a crazy world we've been living in right now. Let's just keep our spirits up. Thank you for my Home Depot family. The Break Room Uncut. I love you guys. I don't want to get too vulnerable and start, weeping over here. But thank you all for the love and support, Nighthawk Network, and just my friends in general who love sports just as much as I do. Like I said before, not coming from an everyday fan, but from a guru's perspective. Thank you. Have a blessed one. Until next Tuesday.